Welcome back. I hope you are doing great. As a part of this video, we'll understand what is primary key and different aspects of the primary key. First of all, what are primary keys? Are we talking about a famous lock and key from Godrej? No, we are talking about a key in a table, which is there as a part of database. We already understood how do we choose the primary key in our previous videos. Let us summarize that now. When we have any table, we'll identify the super keys first. From that, we'll identify the candidate keys. From that, we'll identify the primary keys. Let us understand the primary key concepts by using a example of university. I know all of you would have been part of different universities. In a university, we have students and we have lecturers. If we were to create the database of a university, then we have to create a students table, then we have to create a teachers or lecturers table, then we have to create a course table, and so on. Let us take one table from this database, that being student table. So in this table, all of us agree that we need to have a mechanism to identify a row or rows uniquely. Let us see what are the columns which we can choose to identify each row uniquely. Let us start with student name. We have Arjun, Brinda, Monica, David, and Arjun. Look at this. There are two Arjuns. What is that we are trying to do here? We are trying to identify a row uniquely. Can we do that by a student name? No, because we have two names here. And let us see if we can do that with the student age. 23, we have another 23. Again, there are duplicates. We can't do that. Let's come to the student phone number. Yes, most of the time student phone numbers are unique, but there may be a chance that student may change the number itself. Then we can't use that. So it may not be appropriate to use the student phone number as a key. Then we are left with student ID as one of the column, which we can use as a key, right? If you look at this, student ID is unique. It can identify a record uniquely. 1001 is of this Arjun. If you want another Arjun, his ID is 1005. So by student ID, we'll be able to identify a record uniquely. We understood it is very important for us to choose a column which can act as a key to identify a record uniquely. Then what is primary key? Primary key is a column of a table which uniquely identifies each tuple. So primary key is one of the very important column of any table. In this case, we are looking at a student table where roll number or a student ID is one of the important way to identify each tuple uniquely. When you go to a bank, obviously the data is stored in a tables in a database. So how does the bank guys identify each tuple or each record? There may be a chance that there are two people with the same names with subtle variations. In that case, usually bank guys will either identify a person with the account number or customer number, right? So primary key is one of the very important key of any table, in turn any database. Let us understand more aspects of the primary key. A relation or a table or an entity can have only one primary key. Look at this. We can have only one primary key. This is a primary key here. We cannot have more than one primary key in any table. If you take any table, what is very important is each rows should have a primary key value. Here you can see 1001, 1002, 1003. These each rows have a primary key. One more important aspect of the primary key is primary keys cannot accept the duplicate values. Like this here, it cannot have 1001 here as well, 1002 here as well. It should not accept any duplicate values. And also primary key cannot have a null values. For example, here we cannot have a record like Salman 50 some phone number with a null value here, because the idea of primary key is to fetch this whole record. If this guy has a null value, how will you fetch this record? You cannot. So primary key cannot accept a duplicate or null values. Now let us understand where do we provide a primary key when we are creating a table. I have logged into MySQL, which is installed in Ubuntu. If you have not logged in, please log into MySQL. I will get into the database. Let me see which are the databases here. So I will get into university. Let us see if there are any tables here. I have a table called student details. So let me try to recreate this table here. So while creating the table, what I need to ensure is I have to make one of the column as a primary key. How do I do it? So let me say this is a student details. Since already I have a table called student details, I got to create one more table. So here I'll say student underscore details. I'll say student for PK. That is primary key. So the table name here is students for PK, and I am saying roll number. And if you see, I have different attributes like roll number, name, date of birth, course type. Here, if you observe, I'm making the roll number as a primary key. So out of these four attributes, roll number is going to be a primary key. As we already discussed as a part of the conceptual class, this particular column cannot contain the duplicate values and null values. Let us go ahead and create this table now. Do we have the data in this? No, we don't. Let us insert a couple of records into this. Let me insert this particular record into the table. So we inserted the data called Subhash here. Select star from, there you go. Let us try to insert one more record with the same roll number and see if it allows us to do or not. So I will say 1 and I'll say Monica. I'll say she has done some arts. Okay, I'll change some couple of this one. Okay, let me see if it allows or not. If I try to insert, no, you can see it says duplicate entry 1 for key primary. Wonderful. We understood what is primary key and how do we create a table with the primary key. Thank you.